aeon. I later learned aeon, in the Greek sense, means gods. Right? The gods. The Greek gods are often referred to as aeons. They could have been spelled A-E-O-N. It's also a reference to time, aeons of time, right? And A-I-O-N is another spelling for it as well, because it's really this ligatured A-E in Greek. But what's interesting is that there's also a book written by Carl Jung by the name of Aeon, which was about the individuation path.
The phenomenology of self.
The phenomenology of self. Now, I had no idea about any of this when I came up with it, but I knew there was something special to it, and I knew that one of the meanings to the word aeon was I am. So, and also, if you look at it, it's A-E-O-N. You've got the same letters besides the letter A as the number 1, right? And that's kind of interesting. So there's something to Gematria also. Maybe you've heard of Gematria, where you can actually read the Bible in different forms of Greek Gematria, English Gematria, simple Gematria, and there are numbers that are basically significant to each one. So in simple Gematria, the letter A would be the number 1.
Got it.
And in Greek Gematria, it would be the same. But there's 24 numbers, right, that would then be associated with a Greek alphabet. But what's interesting is that they didn't actually have a numbering system. So if you go back in time, the Greek language was, the letters of their language was their numbering system. And that was true all the way up until the advent of the Arabic numerical system, right? So that means that literally Gematria was embedded into everything from Greek, right? If the number 1, the number 2 is B, the number 3 is gamma, right? Or C, which is from camel, gimel. And bet is house. So Aleph bet would be bull house. Aleph means bull, right? And that's true in all those, most of the Semitic languages, right? So alpha. So when you start realizing the whole thing is connected, there's nothing that's not connected. And then I learned that in Greek, when you flip a word around, it also has a meaning very often. So what is the opposite of aeon? No way. Have you ever heard of Noetics?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Noetics Institute, which is about thought and consciousness. So now aeon on one direction means I am, and in the other means I think. Is this all coincidence? And both are irrevocably tied to the number 1, just like neo is with 1.
Mm-hmm.
These are realizations that we come to, and we can actually find the divinity in all of it. And so some people might look at that and say, that's just all pure coincidence, Robert. You're totally out of your mind. Well, okay. But when you start looking at mathematics and probabilities, it doesn't work. It falls apart on its face. Why is it that the latitude of the Great Pyramid is exactly down to 1 meter per second perfection, the exact speed of light? 29.9792458 degrees north is the latitudinal reference of the center of the Great Pyramid. Okay, so then people say, but that's only one of the axes. Okay, what's the other axis? The other axis is 31 degrees, 8 minutes, and 3.1 seconds, which comes out to be exactly 1 over pi. So one axis is the speed of light, and the other axis is 1 over pi? Really? So that means that I've got 9 digits to get 299,792,458 meters per second. And then now I've got another 6 digits in the 31 degrees, 8 minutes, right, and 3.1 seconds. So for me to pick perfectly exactly 15 digits of accuracy, that's like 10 to the 15th power, right? That it's going to land exactly on those. I mean, please. Really? We live in a simulation.